Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Festus Obi again, and today I've got another video for you. And the title of today's video is Your App Needs a Dark Theme. So when I was making this video, designing the thumbnails and everything, every resource that I would use for the graphics and all that, it was confusing for me because I ended up finding out that lots of them had different titles. And this is because dark theme can also be called light text in dark background. It can be called dark mode. It can be called dark theme, like I said. So moving further, we're just going to address it as dark mode, but it's all the same thing. So let's explain what this is. What is dark mode? Like I said again, the title of this video is to tell you why you might have to consider choosing to do this for your new app. So what is dark mode? Dark mode is simply having a light text in a dark background. That's sounding complicated, but to make you understand what I'm talking about, picture Netflix or Spotify. These are all applications that use dark mode instead of the light one. Another way to make you understand what this is about is taking a more practical example like YouTube. Now, with YouTube has the option for you to choose either the light one or the dark one. So let's use the YouTube channel of Free Code Camp, for example. So this is what Free Code Camp looks like in light mode. While this is, awesome and good for some people, people like me also don't like this. We prefer this other version, which is the dark mode. So as you can see on both of them have it has the same thing, the same content, the same buttons, the same titles and everything. The only difference is, of course, you notice that on the light one, the text is dark, and on the dark one, the text is bright. It is just what it is. But it isn't just for preferences. It's not just as a choice. There are several reasons why you might have to consider making your application have a dark mode. So back in the day, say 5-6 years ago, when I started getting into tech, pretty much everything that looks dark with a green, text or whatever looked very IT-ish to me, simply because they had this whole feel of the terminal going on. I didn't actually have any other reasons to use an application that has dark mode other than the fact that it just looked really cool and, geeky to me. But we've gone past that age. Seeing lots of companies put this feature. Facebook has done it, Medium has done it, several companies, Stack Overflow and lots more has done it. We now have almost every application having the functionality where you can change the theme to one that best suits you. So moving on, why do I think this is something you need to consider? Well, first of all, like I said, people want to have the luxury of choice. People want to be able to choose the one that suits them. And there's nothing more that sells your application more than the fact that the user interface has the option for people to customize it to look the way they want. The next reason why you would have to consider using a dark mode is because the dark mode in itself is way fun, cooler, and more comfortable to use in dark environments. You don't want an application that someone goes to bed with and in few minutes they are finding it difficult to look at the screen. The dark mode in itself alters the brightness in such a way that the blue light that is being given off is not as much as when the screen is light, and that makes it easier for someone to fall asleep when holding the phone in bed, as opposed to having that too much bright light that makes sleeping become difficult. Now, another reason you should consider the dark mode or the dark theme when you're building out your application from scratch is it happens to actually be the most important reason. There is no other one than the fact that it reduces the use of energy. The energy consumption is reduced drastically. And while this is really important, it is worth noting that it only counts if the user has a device that has an OLED screen. If it is an older one, it doesn't actually make any much difference. In fact, the only thing that's there is just preference, choice. The person tends to have the luxury of choosing either the dark or the light, since on the energy side, it's pretty much the same thing. So amongst all of this, I guess you kind of like understand where I'm going with this. It is super cool that you have this option, but I would have to mention that like every other thing that has advantage, there are several disadvantages to the dark mode. One, I've already mentioned, the energy consumption factor goes out of the window if the person has an old device without an OLED screen. Again, if the user is in an environment that is, properly lit up, like say during the summer at the beach or something, your application, it might be difficult to actually look at if it is like really dark. Again, it could be difficult to actually consume information. Say, for example, a blog post. If there are too many tests on a dark mode, sometimes it gets really difficult to actually look at. It strains the eye. So, whilst all of this is said, in summary, I guess what I'm trying to say is it would be beneficial if you have it there for those who think that is the way to go. Like me, for example, pretty much every application I use is automatically set to be on the dark mode, whether it be Netflix, Spotify, Facebook, whatever it is. In fact, I use a Google Chrome plugin that alters every web page that is bright to black. Another thing is, if you already built an application that has dark mode, that doesn't have dark mode, it's worth mentioning that you shouldn't just switch it. Yes, it is cool, you need to have it, but don't switch it. Don't just take it out and put the dark one, because it might get, weird for people who are already used to what it is. You can make it a secondary option, it's cool. There is this offer, there is this option, you can choose to turn this on and you have this. And another thing that is worth noting is building applications in itself is already difficult. Now, having to consider 2 user interfaces or more, that's even more difficult. So if you do not have the manpower or strength to actually get this happen and have to keep maintaining multiple user interfaces, then choose what works best for you. And all that being said, thank you for watching. I believe I've answered the question as to why you need to have the option for your users to choose a dark mode while using your application. Thank you for watching. I'll let you go continue to build. See you next time.